Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. My name's Danny Wood. I started real estate in Oshawa, Ontario in 2007. And I set up a team right away and went I've been working remotely and digitally from day one. Like, I never even met the clients. I would just work them to the point of an appointment. And then I would assign them to other agents and do a referral split. Because I learned the hard way. I did like the first month in the business, I did 11 transactions, and it was nuts. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally just making it up on the spot, and I realized at that time I should only wear one hat, and the hat that I enjoy the most is marketing. So I decided I'm just going to go all in on the marketing, and I'll just like generate business and then give it to other agents on a referral. So therefore, I don't have to do paperwork. I don't have to like do any of the stuff that I don't want to do. I just get to play in a sandbox and build. And now I live on the road full time. So I move to a new city every month. I happen to be in BC at the moment. And it's all because of the technology that I'm going to share with you. So, especially in today's world, you guys really have to leverage digital technology with the way real estate is happening right now. Like, a lot of you are working from home. There's a lot of shifts happening in the marketplace, not just with the market itself, but also in your behavior and your habits and the tools that you're using. So, one of the best tools that you can be leveraging at any time, especially now, is video. So, I'm going to share my computer screen and I'm going to show you a technique and a strategy that I use for video. And then I'm going to come back and then we'll just have an open discussion on the different ways you can be using video, some of the tools that I use for video, and then we'll circle back and do another. So, I got two presentations I want to do with you. But the first one is on video. So, I'm going to share my screen. And if you have your microphone on, mute yourself. That way you can cough and answer the phone and get up and walk around, and we don't get that picked up in the recording. But if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, feel free, or put them in the comments and I'll address them after the video as well. So either way, but probably best if you know that you're unmuted, just to put yourself on mute. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, let me know if you can't hear this when I hit play. Hey, what's up? It's Danny here. I'm going to try something totally new. I just heard fireworks go off in the background. It's the new year, and I have a pretty cool setting. It's a prison, an old prison, and it goes with the theme of today's video, which is going to be about feeling trapped. My example of failing started with this vlog, but your example can be totally different, whether it's losing weight or trying something new or anything in general. We've all failed. So if you've ever been on that fail train, you'll totally appreciate where I'm coming from. When I failed with my vlog, there was three primary things that did that to me. The first one was the gear and the process. So I overcomplicated all the gear that I needed, and the process to actually edit the video and stitch it all together is just like really paralyzed me. Nothing ever felt natural and candid. It was very scripted, robotic, and just shit is basically what I ended up thinking. Speaking of the script, I could never memorize a script, so I tried so many different things where I would put bullet points and tape it onto the tripod underneath the camera, but you could see me looking down and not looking into the camera. And then other things I tried was actually writing up a script and using a teleprompter. That one actually works really good, but the problem with it was my videos turned out to be just me talking into the camera, and nobody wants to see that. And so me doing a talking head video just wasn't going to cut it for today's modern world. We just don't have the attention span for that. So the teleprompter idea is awesome, except for boring. Now, whatever your project is that you're working on that you keep failing at, a lot of times we let stuff get in the way. So my example here is I'm looking at a GoPro. I actually love the GoPro. I think everybody should have one. However, we all experience it where you buy something brand new thinking it's going to solve your problem, and you take it out of the box and you shoot your first little shot, or you do whatever you do with it. And it's just like not what you expected. Everybody else made it look so much better than how you are doing it. And it's kind of embarrassing. When I see all the other footage that people are capturing with it, the clarity of the audio, the crispness of the scene, just like the whole cinematic sequence, and then I get it and it's just like, terrible. So the process or the end result is never what you expected. I mean, especially when you compare yourself to different people. So I just threw up 3 people on the screen here. There's Casey, Peter, and Jesse. And these are 3 guys that I really look up to. And the problem with me looking up to these guys is that I pale in comparison. I never cut it. When I look at the quality of the work that they do, these are 3 YouTubers. But it doesn't matter if it's 3 YouTubers that you are inspired by, or if it's like a star that you look up to, an industry leader, or a colleague down the hallway. What ends up happening is we get so distracted and blinded by the polish and the fake social world that we live in that we expect what we do to be the exact same results as what they do. And if it's not even close, we're just kind of depressed and sad with ourselves. And I definitely found myself in that boat because I just never found my groove. So I got this video up here and it's showing behind the scenes. So a lot of the people that are ahead of you, there's usually a team behind them. And that team has a collective experience, whether it be like 20 years in that industry or 10 years or 15 or 30. And you're trying it for the first time, you have a collective experience of 0. We always forget this, and when I'm trying to do self-filming like I am now, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to edit this little video, I have to realize I don't have the army, which is flying by right now. There's literally an air base, and that's an army helicopter. So the army is flying away without me, and I'm standing here by myself doing it. So it's easy for them to look all high on their horse when they got a crew of people that can make them look good in any light. And then here we are over in the corner, if anybody can relate. You're like a horse, just a toy horse, walking in circles, and people are just walking by. They're not even like offering to help us, right? So my problem initially started with the fact that on YouTube, I'm over 500 videos right now, which is awesome. That's not the problem. I got about 300 that are public and 200 that are private. Now, there's an algorithm that YouTube really looks at, and it's called audience retention. That's the playthrough rate. So if it was a 60-second video, what's the percentage of time people will stick through? Is it 10 seconds, 40, 60? Obviously, the higher the better. Now, my problem with this audience retention is that I have really long format videos. They're like 40 minutes to 60 minutes, and ideally on YouTube, it should be more like 3 minutes to 12 minutes. And so that's a huge problem for me. And because of that, YouTube is going to be penalizing my videos organically when people do searching. So I thought to fix this problem would be to just make shorter format videos, 3-minute to 8-minute videos. So what I could do is take all of my old format videos, repurpose them into fresh content. So I thought I'd flip the switch and create my own lane. I mean, I kept trying to compare myself to other vloggers and compare myself to other people that are doing things that just aren't my strengths and skill sets. So I thought, why can't I just create my own lane? One thing I've discovered in my public speaking endeavors, when I'm on stage and I'm doing a presentation, the presentation that everybody is looking at actually isn't for them. The presentation is for me. It's a visual reference and a visual cue as to what I should be saying and keeping me on track for my story. So why can't I do the same thing where I just use my phone to tell a little story for you? So I'm using Keynote right now. Keynote is an awesome tool. It allows you to create presentations directly on your phone. So everything that you've seen in this video so far, I made on Keynote. All the animations of the text, all the actual videos that you're watching, it's just playing on Keynote, and I'm recording my screen as I talk to you. What's really awesome about this little format, I feel, it gives me an organic script. I'm not reading something word for word and feeling like a robot and unnatural. It allows me to just tell my story and kind of bounce around, but stay in the lane. It also gives me the B-roll overlay footage for you so that it breaks up the monotony of being so boring, just staring at my face the whole time that I talk. And then also the cool thing about Keynote is that you can do it in portrait mode. So I can create this presentation the size of my phone, and then therefore I can upload it to things like Instagram stories and Facebook stories, and even Facebook and YouTube now allow you to upload in portrait mode, and when a person watches that, it takes up the whole screen. Basically storytelling on the go. This is going to be my new format, and I want to know, like, if you stumble, will you make it part of the dance? Because I've literally been stumbling for years. I just stumbled on that word. And I've been stumbling for years. Like literally I bought my Sony DSLR camera like 3 or 4 years ago, to make a vlog. And then I was going to do another vlog of me doing adventures and having fun. And it just took the fun out of the fun by having to create all this content. Is just not why I wanted to do it. Now I have a real reason. My YouTube channel, the numbers are going to start to go down because of that audience retention rate, and people just don't care for long format videos. So part of my stumbling enabled me to fail forward and find a solution that I think will work. I don't know anybody else who's doing these type of videos where they're using a presentation on their phone to keep them on track, but I think you could do it as well. Let me share a couple ideas with you. Monthly videos. So if you were a real estate agent, you could create a presentation on your phone for the market stats of what's happened in your market, property types, that sort of thing. And then it could be a monthly video that you do, and it only takes like a minute or 2 minutes to make. A product or service highlight video. So I could easily create, if I was in the car industry and a new car comes out, just like even in real estate as well, kind of like going through a presentation talking about all the highlights, and you're like flipping the page of the magazine or flipping the page of the brochure or flipping through the listing photos of that property, and you're just kind of talking about them. About you, all real estate agents and all people in business should have an about you, about the team, and or about the company. And so maybe you could start off with making that as your video. And then the client process. So a lot of the videos that I make, I intend on repurposing for multiple reasons. I never make a video just for uploading a video's sake. I always have a reason for it. Many times it's either for a landing page or for like a follow-up sequence to educate a person as to why they should maybe enroll in that product or service. Hopefully I just gave you a couple ideas. I don't know, I'm just kind of, oh, time's up, they're shooting the cannons. So we're standing out front of the prison here. Hopefully you don't feel trapped. Hopefully you fail forward. And on to the next vlog. I'm gonna pause it there. I'll stop sharing my screen because that's just a sales pitch at the end. And yeah, so that whole process of how I made video, I made that in one take. It was just my phone on a tripod, and I recorded myself. And I don't know if it came across on your end, but from my end, delivering it, I felt way more comfortable delivering it. Like it was a casual conversation, like I was talking to a friend. If I tried to do an 8-minute or 12-minute video just winging it or memorizing a script, no way. I would not be hired as an actor. I'm not Brad Pitt. And so I would have failed really hard. And one of the challenges with real estate agents is when you guys make a video, you put like, how long does it take you to get the gear set up and to come up with the concept of what you're going to talk about? And then when you're making the video, you have to edit it. And after all of that collective time, you post it on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and you're like really excited. And then 3 days go by and you got 30 views or maybe a couple hundred views. And you're like, man, that wasn't worth it at all. Everybody's telling us we got to do video, but I put all this effort into it and nobody's seeing these videos. When I first started with making video, I decided that I wasn't going to be the front of the camera. I was going to be behind the camera. So my first initial videos were the recording of my computer screen. So there's a really cool tool. It's called Loom, Loom, Loom. You can just go to loom.com, and it allows you to record your computer screen and have you picture in picture. So right now, say you're a listing agent and you have a couple listings. How many showings are you getting on those properties? It's probably dropped by like 80% of the, you say you used to get 100 showings, now you're lucky to get 20. And so you still got to get the property shown somehow. So why don't you take your Matterport virtual tour, whatever you're doing, record your computer screen and just walk through the property talking about it. So you're like, hey, this is the kitchen and these are the granite countertops that were just installed. And when we look at the backyard, you'll see the ravine. Like if you were to actually go to the property and run around with a selfie stick, first of all, that's jittery and shaky. Also, collectively, how much time does it take for you to run from one room to the next to go through the whole house? It would be like 3 minutes of just you fumbling around. If you record your computer screen using a tool like Loom, not only would it be a much cleaner, simpler process, but you would have it done in one take, like a 2-minute clip you could make instantly from the comfort of your chair at your home. And you don't have to be on the camera, although I would suggest that you do because it builds that mind share of know you, like you, trust you, and the rapport. So it is a good idea. And some of you will be like, I don't like the way I look or sound on video. And like the reality is you look and sound the same in real life. So you're not hiding anything. Just fail forward. I say own who you are. Just like maybe, I don't know, as a goofy kid, and I owned that, and I'm still a goofy kid today. And so just like be brave. Don't worry about what other people think. I know one thing: you're going to be left behind if you don't move forward, right? And so using the Loom is an awesome tool, especially it allows you to record your computer screen and your tablet and your phone. So right now, if I had listings, wouldn't seller feedback be awkward? I mean, seller feedback is a challenge in any market, let alone this market. This is a really hard market to give seller feedback. And so what I like about Loom is it allows you to record your computer screen and you could show them, hey, I know there's been no showings this week, but we've actually got 30,000 views online. We went through YouTube and this is how we did the targeting and this is the ads that we ran. And on Facebook, these are the ads that we ran and these are all the leads that we got. And the common consensus is that it's overpriced. So what I did was I went onto the market to pull up all the competition just so you could see. And now look, all these people are on the market and they're new competition that weren't when we first got listed. And it's just like you educating and explaining to the seller. The cool thing about Loom is when you're done making that video, you can save the video on your computer so that you could upload it wherever you want. But that's too big of a file for you to like text a person. So what Loom does is they give you a link that you can just copy and paste. So I could copy it and email it to my client, or I could copy that link and send it to them through Facebook Messenger or Instagram chat or whatever it's called, and then text messaging as well. So I'd say of all the tools that you could consider for a video, Loom is probably going to be your best bet for most agents, unless you want to start creating video and editing it. Now that process of me standing, I had my tripod with my camera on it and that was recording me. And then in my hand, I had an older phone that was kicking around and I had Keynote on it. If I didn't have iPhone, I would use PowerPoint. And I just had the PowerPoint or Keynote and I was just flipping through it. And you can record your screen. So no matter what phone you have, if it's a newer phone, you can record your screen. So I recorded the screen while I was doing the presentation, and then I recorded the camera like looking at me, and that gave me two files. I just put the two together and I stacked them vertically so that I could use it on Instagram TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, there are questions. Dan, your phone on your video was a tripod, but you had a device. Were you holding another device? Oh, yeah, I just answered that. Your Keynote app with the script on the other device and the overlay too. Yeah, I just answered that one, so that's good. Own who you are. Awesome. Totally, 100%. So, okay, remember I also said when you make a video and it has a really short shelf life, like if you post on social media, you've really got about a 3-day window before the organic views fizzle off. And so in those three days, that's when you get most of your views. And if you're not getting any views, then why make video for social media? You should be making video for, think of this. Do you have a website that has a buyer page? And do you have a website that has a seller page? You should make video for those pages. Record your computer screen and just make a Loom video. And I would be like this. I'm on my seller page, pretend I'm on my seller page, and I hit record on Loom. So I'd be like, hey, it's Danny Wood over at ABC Realty in Durham region. If you're thinking of selling your home, fill in the form below. And what you're going to get is a comprehensive list of all the homes that you would be competing with if you hit the market now. I'm also going to show you what your home is worth if you were to list it. And then if you're thinking of buying a home, we're going to match you up with all the homes that fit your criteria. And this is a totally free consultation. So just fill in the form below and I'll follow up with you. That one little video clip would have taken me, what, 30 seconds, 40 seconds? And that will increase your conversion rate on your landing page. See, you can drive more traffic to your landing page and there's a cost in that. But if we can take the traffic that you already have and just increase the conversion, there's zero cost in that part of it. And adding video to your landing pages is one of the greatest multi-use pieces of video that you could use. The other one would be look at your follow-up plan. Do you have like a buyer follow-up drip or a seller follow-up drip? I'm hoping and assuming that you do. And if you do, let's just say there's like 6 or 7 emails in that drip plan. Take a look at each of the emails and each one of them should be a video. Now you have a 6-part video series that you can make. You can take those videos and reuse them for in your email follow-up. On top of that, you've got fresh organic content that you can put on your website as a blog, right? So don't worry about these social media videos that have such a short shelf life and then you get discouraged from using video. Just look at what are the types of video that you could use over and over. Like some of you, like, I'll stop using the word like, I don't know why I said it 4 times. Say you have a listing presentation. Wouldn't it be a cool idea for you just pull it up on PowerPoint on your computer, do a little Loom recording, and just go through the presentation? And now you have a copy of that listing presentation done as a video, and you could use that as part of your follow-up. After you meet a client virtually or in person in the future and you do a listing presentation, maybe you could send them the video as a follow-up, and it goes through all of the different marketing that you're up to. Microphone? You can't hear me? I hope, oh man, you can hear me, right? I don't know what the microphone question mark means. If you're asking microphone, what microphone do I use? Okay, good, thank you. The microphone that I really suggest is, okay, there's 2, the cheap version and the expensive version. So if you're just dabbing your toe in using video and you don't know if you're really gonna do it, then the cheap option is called iRig, and I'll type it up. Actually, when I type, I'm going to type out all of my contact information. So make sure you copy and like take a copy of what I just typed out. It's got my name, my phone number, my email. I'm going to offer all of you a free half-hour coaching call so that I can just have a real conversation with each of you one-on-one. And then there's my social media. So I'm also going to, the iRig MicLav, IRIG iRig MicLav. That's just a clip-on lapel microphone with a cable that plugs into your phone. Now, depending on your phone, you might need a dongle. Like I need the Apple Lightning adapter dongle thing. And so what I love about it is just plug and play, and it works really good. Because if I had my phone on a tripod and it was like 4 feet away, that would pick up so much ambient noise. But if I just had it clipped onto my shirt, it brings the sound source of my mouth much closer to it, and then it's going to be a better experience for the people listening. Now, if you actually want to spend money on a microphone, for it's a Rode Go, RODE Go. The Rode Go is a wireless lapel microphone, so it's still the little clip-on thing, but there's no cable, and the audio level is better. It's louder and cleaner, and then also it gives you the ability to control the input. So say you're outdoors in a noisy space, you can turn it up, but if you're indoors in a quiet space, you can turn it down. It's the one I use. That video you just watched, I was using it. Tom Ferry uses it. So if you can trust anybody, you can hopefully trust one of us, that if it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you. Is there a USB microphone? So if you're going to record into your computer, yeah, there's a ton of options out there. Forget the name of this one. Oh, SAMSON. SAMSON USB mic. So this microphone right here is about $40 or $50. And if you do look at like if most people would tell you a Blue Yeti is the microphone to get. If you do a side-by-side comparison, this beats it, and you save like $100 or more, depending. Because I owned a Blue Yeti, and I still use this $40 one better. It's just better, and I bought it on Amazon. I was actually a Rode sales rep. Good product. 100%. Yep, I love it. It works really, really good. Feedback, ideas. So you guys are asking questions, but what videos do you think you'd want to make? I'd like to hear some videos that you could possibly make. Ask me some more questions. I will switch over to the other presentation, but I don't want to leave you guys hanging on this. Get a discount. Nice, hopefully. Neighborhood or buyer intro. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you. So yeah, so video, I'm telling you, like, man, when I was pushing video in 2012, that's a long time in the marketing world. And when I would call internet leads, I would hear my videos playing in the background. And when I called people, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Dan, what's up?" Like we talked before. And we never did talk before. It was totally just the power of the video breaking through. So I really, really encourage you to use it for your follow up. And if you want, fail forward and just use Loom and record the content instead of recording you. And that's a really good start for you guys. Landlord tenant tips. Why choose me as your agent? Nice. Lauren, I think we're actually connected in real time. Message me and I'm going to share. Well, I'll just tell you guys now collectively. Okay. If I was to be doing cold prospecting, which I don't suggest you do right now in this climate, like I wouldn't be going all in on digital ads for cold leads. I'd be paying and reinvesting in my database for referrals. That's what I would be focusing on. However, if I was going for cold business and prospecting, there's two that I would go after hard. Landlords is a big one. So I would go to Craigslist or Kijiji and it would show me a list of all the homes for rent. I would call that landlord up and say, "Hey, Joey landlord, I noticed your home for rent. Is it still available?" And he would say, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, perfect. Now I'm a real estate agent. I'm here in Durham region and I totally value that you're advertising it for rent. But I was wondering, would you be open to the possibility of me bringing you offers for sale? And if you don't like any of the offers, you don't have to accept them. So there's no cost for you, but at least you'll find out what your home is worth. And have you ever considered that? Like, would we be able to have another conversation maybe later on tonight or tomorrow?" Because a lot of landlords don't want to be a landlord anymore. And then I always had plan B. I would have a plan B. So say that person's like, "Nope, love being a landlord. I'm drinking my coffee and I'm in my truck right now, heading to the dump." Then I'd be like, "Well, that's great. Since you love being a landlord so much, we actually have a list of all the duplexes, triplexes, and fix and flips in the Durham region. And we send that out weekly. I wouldn't want you to miss out on that. Would it be okay if I included you? And if so, what's the best email?" And I'd be building my database of all the landlords because a lot of landlords, man, they're not, some of them aren't getting paid. And the smaller landlords that have one or two properties, they could really feel a pinch if one of their tenants stops paying because of this whole COVID thing. So I would be hitting the landlords. The other cold prospecting that I would do is I would look up on LinkedIn. I would search anybody who's in HR, like human resources, and in my city. So if somebody was in human resources in my city, I would call them up because I can see what company they work at. So I would call the company and whoever answers, I'd be like, "Yeah, can you pass me to Amy Smith, please?" So they would pass me, and Amy never gets a phone call from somebody. So she answers the phone. I'd be like, "Hey, Amy, my name's Danny. I happen to be on LinkedIn and I noticed you're human resources here in the Durham region. And I'm a real estate agent here in the Durham region. And I just want to throw an idea out to you and you let me know what you think. Is there a possibility that we could do something for your um, employees that are relocating, either coming or going, and or having a class about real estate as a second career for the people that are moving on to other things?" Do you think, like, is that an idea? Like when I say that, what comes to mind? Anything? And then I would just let her come up with whatever idea she has. Maybe she's got a fit and a need. I pitched an idea to a company in the East Coast, and I had no idea it was going to work. I just wrote up a proposal, called them cold called, and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you would be into this, but can I just share a story with you and let's see what happens?" And I shared the idea with them, and it actually worked out to be like about $40,000 worth of business that I got from a cold call. Booyah. That is awesome. And so definitely right now, if you're at home and you're feeling like glum, you're not in the motion of doing things, well, you should definitely be connecting with your database. So I'm going to shift stories right now. I'm going to share with you a video on how I would connect and work my database. In the video, it expresses like meeting them in person. And I'm not telling you to meet people in person at this present moment. Just keep that on the back burner. And after the video, I'll come back and I'll share with you how we can turn it into like a work from home COVID-19 scenario. So I'm going to share my screen. Hey, what's up? It's Danny Wood here. I'm going to do vlog number 2, which is going to be on relationship marketing. And a lot of real estate agents, they feel awkward when they're calling their database. And I can totally relate. I'll tell you why. One of my life's goals is to have joy with everything that I do. And if I don't have joy doing it, I don't want to do it. Especially when it comes to work. Like, we're trading time for money. It's one of the most valuable things, time. And we're just wasting it on things that we don't like doing. So if it's not bringing me joy, I don't want to do it. And the joy totally was sucked out of me as soon as I got into the real estate business. I walked in the front door and they gave me a wadded up, crusty bunch of pieces of paper glued together. I think they called it a phone book. And they wanted me to go through such a book and cold call these people. I'm like, whoa, whoa, hold on, cowboy. I'm out in the middle of a desert, but that doesn't mean that's what I want to do. Anything else you can suggest for me? And they're like, yeah, we got a couple more brick walls for you. How about you bug your sphere of influence? I mean, call your sphere of influence. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Yeah, I got to call my sphere of influence, my friends and family. Hey, Joey, it's Danny Wood here. I haven't talked to you in 20 years, but I got my real estate license now, and I'm really eager for that commission. How are the kids? It didn't sit well with me. I didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, what else you got? And they're like, well, how about you prospect complete strangers, like for sale by owners and inspireds? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not why I got into business. I don't feel good. I don't want to show up and do this sort of thing. And this is the truth. It's hard for you to be inspired when you feel like an ass. And if you don't have a good reason for why you're calling people, you feel like, and it wasn't until I discovered I needed a why that was bigger than me. Before, with all the other past sales training I was taking, it was all about business first, and it didn't sit well with me. So what I started doing was calling people for bigger reasons that was more about them than it was for me. I came up with a two-plan system. Plan A was the reason for the phone call. A stands for awesome. Anything that was fun, positive, and share-worthy, that's why I was calling them. Plan B was business, and I would pepper that in the conversation when, if, and where it felt fitting. So I never forced the business conversation, I just let it flow. Let me show you a couple examples. You should gather a couple agents from your office and do a yearly clothing drive. It's something you can all add to your marketing calendar as a yearly event. You'll be able to reconnect with everybody in your database with a positive touch point. It's easy. You just call them up and say, hey, we're doing a clothing drive. I'll swing by and pick it up. Would you participate? Just put it in a bag. A lot of people will say, yeah. And now what's happening is you get a face-to-face conversation because you're going to swing by and see them. You're updating your database with their mailing address and their home address, which is key for a real estate agent to have. And it's something you can do even quarterly if you wanted, but at least yearly. Do it as a group. You'll get positive press release. You can have a blog, social media, and a whole bunch of stuff out of it. Above and beyond just you connecting with people on a positive level. Now, we've all gone through these calling programs and coaching programs where they have us burn through our database for the first time, and it's a blitz and you're like taking selfies of you doing, and that's great. However, if you ask most agents 3 months later if they're still doing it, they aren't. Most aren't. And the reason for that is because the second, third, and fourth phone call, you run out of ideas. Now, remember I said everything I do is all about joy and it's inside me? Well, on a quarterly basis, I would set something in the future that was fun and totally random and experiential, like a Segway tour or a fishing trip or poker, wine, beer tasting. Like, it doesn't matter. It was always experiential and fun. And that gave me another reason to connect with people. And it was always different. One time it might be a self-defense class. Another time it could be a CPR course. Or maybe it's a make and take where it's a seasonal thing and we all show up, make stuff, and then take it home based on that holiday. Be creative, but have something on your horizon at all time, because that's what makes it easier to pick up the phone and enroll people. Now, as a self-employed professional, you obviously know other self-employed professionals, and a lot of people in your database are going to be self-employed as well. So why don't you do a share and tell where everybody shows up at a restaurant or something, and they go a round table and talk about who they are and what they sell, like their product and service, and then they tell one example of how they generate business. That's going to create cross-pollination between other people in the room. So not only are you going to be the key player, the person in the center that organized the whole thing, but everybody else is going to get value from it, and maybe you can do it on like a quarterly basis, maybe even monthly if it gets big. Now, the whole time I'm calling people about my plan A, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking of plan B. When it's fitting, I'm going to slide in the business conversation depending on who the people are, and more importantly, depending how the conversation is currently going. If it's uplifting and I feel like they have time to talk a little bit longer, I'm going to go into plan B. So an example of plan B is the homeowners. If you know somebody who owns a home, which I hope you do, you can call through your database and let them know, hey, we got this nosy neighbor alert, and it will keep you updated on all the homes that hit the market just in your neighborhood. You'll see the pictures, the price, the home renovations, that sort of thing. It's free and it's easy. What's the best email? And now you're updating your database with homeowners, getting their email and their address so that you can let them know of what's happening directly in their neighborhood. It's free for you, it's free for them, it's relevant to them. If you are going to create a drip program, this is the first one that you should do, and it's absolutely free. A lot of people that you know are in business and or self-employed and into investing. maybe. And if so, you could do a monthly tour looking at duplexes, triplexes, fix and flips, power sales, that sort of thing. And then I would create a smaller list of just the people in my database who are investors. And once a month, we could meet up and do a little tour looking at property. The cool thing about investors is that they don't have any loyalty. And the reason why that's cool is because they don't have loyalty to the other agents either. So unless they're under contract, don't step on that. But most of the time, it's just a relationship game, and you got to be the one that has the relationship with them. This is an easy touch, for sure. The other thing is anybody who's an investor in your database, they have two homes, the one they live in and the one they rent out. You're in this game for another 5 years or 10 years, I hope, right? While that person is probably going to be buying or selling more property in the future. And this is a great touch. A lot of the people we speak to are tenants, and they're not a lost hope. If a person is a tenant, I would be like, hey, what's current rent go for where you're at? And they would tell me, oh, it's around 1,400 or 1,600 or 2,200. And then I would respond, well, that's crazy, because I actually have a list of homes for sale that you can own, and the monthly mortgage is the same as what you're paying in rent. Would you be interested in that? Now, I would only say that if it's true. I don't know what your market is. You might not be able to do that approach, but I can in my market, so hopefully you can in yours. Now, in the back of my mind, the whole time, I'm tuning in to one of these business-related reasons. And the hey, what's up? It's Dan. Talk about who they are and what's importantly, depending how the comment, oh, hey, we got this nose know of what's happening. You could do a monthly tour of that property. The cool thing about it, they're not a lost hope. If the whole time I'm tuning in to one of these business related, I don't know what happened there, so I just skipped forward. Sorry. Reasons, and the list goes on. I just gave you 3. There's more pillars. Some of you do pre-construction, some of you do military, specific property like cottages and waterfront and condos, anything. So have all these business pillars in the back of your mind, and then when you're having a conversation, just go with the flow and fit it in. It's more important to pick up the phone and be consistent with dialing than it is to like hammer them down to be a buyer right on the spot or a seller right on the spot. Now, if your office wants to set up an accountability group, just let me know. I can do that in-house. We can do it remotely. You can do it with the team or with the entire brokerage, so just reach out. If you don't want to pay me, you can just steal my ideas right here. Idea number 1 is that your agents should be calling 3 people a day. 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day. It's slow and steady. I'd rather a person call their database for the next 3 months than burn through their database in 1 month and then just never touch it again. See, you can't win a marathon if you don't know how to tie up your shoes. So 3 a day, you don't have to readjust your time blocking. It's easy. Just call 3 people and then move on. Idea number 2 is anybody that you're touching, you should be adding to your database with updated notes. So as much information as you can, their phone number, their email, their address, what you talked about. Now, of all the ideas, this next one is the most important. If anybody is important enough to be in your database, they're important enough to have a next call date. If you put somebody in your database and there isn't a next call date assigned, what's going to happen is 3 months goes by, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and now you're like, oh, my database sucks, it doesn't work. Well, it wasn't that, it's you weren't working it. So I like doing the manual approach where I'll manually add a next call date to a person, because if you try and automate this, your whole database gets out of whack. You'll know with your gut instinct, should I call this person in a year, should I call them in 6 months or next week? So you set the next call date, and that's the most important tip that I have of the day. So everything we've covered so far gives you 3 or 4 touches that's face-to-face that you can build and grow your database with people who know, like, and trust you, and it's not annoying. It's something you can do consistently, and I hope that you do. Anybody who's a coach... Okay, I am going to stop it there. That was a really weird glitch halfway through. And yeah, so I love the plan A, plan B approach. Now, I'm going to have to ask, Rick, by any chance, would you be able to read questions to me as I'm going? Because it's hard for me to like look at the text and answer. And would you be willing to do that? Because I know you know how to mute yourself and unmute yourself. And while you're doing that, can you just let everybody know what area you serve? That way, if they have any referrals, they know who Rick is and how to hook up with you.
Sure, yeah. I'm in Whitby, Durham region, just east of Toronto.
Perfect. Thank you for participating. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to talk, but then if there's any questions, like, because I think there are, but I can't engage actively and read questions at the same time. So just interrupt me if any of those questions are a lot towards me. Okay, so working your database during COVID, obviously I don't want you going out in public and meeting at restaurants, right? Like good luck. It's not even going to work, and it's, you know, not responsible. So I'm not telling you to do that right now, but we're not going to be on lockdown for the rest of our lives. It's definitely a future approach. So how can we take these ideas and apply them remotely? Well, Zoom is a great tool. So what I would do is I would call my immediate vendor list. So my home inspector, my mortgage broker, my plumber, my roofer, my electrician, my painter, my junk removal guy, like all of the contacts that I have for dealing with real estate. I would call all of them first and say, hey, next week or the week after, we're going to do a Zoom call, and it's going to be for local businesses, and we're going to each introduce ourselves, who we are and what we do, and then we're going to tell one way that we're generating business during COVID. And it's just going to be a roundtable discussion, and it's a great way for networking, and you're going to find contacts, and other people are going to find you as a service provider for what you're up to. And I thought you might like that. Would it be okay if I included you? Most of the people I call are going to say yeah. And then so once I have like at least 4 people set up, then I would set a date. And now that I have the date, I would start using that as the reason for me to call my database. So I would call my database, and I would lean in towards plan A is not what's about me at all. It's not about, hey, real estate #1 guy. It's more about like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while and I thought you might like this. So you need multiple plan A's, multiple reasons for the phone call, because not everybody's in business or self-employed. So say I called my sister, this is a bad example, but like, let's say I called my sister and she wasn't my sister. So I called Laura and she's not in business, and I throw that approach at her. It's going to be a hard no. Well, she does have kids, so maybe another Zoom call that you could do and set up for your immediate sphere is stay at home parents and kids that are going through this whole homeschooling transition, and you do a Zoom meeting with the parents, and they're going to talk about like time blocking strategies and what's working and how they're blocking social media and apps, and like what's this TikTok thing all about. And it's just going to be a roundtable discussion of parents talking about how they're coping with teaching from home, all the apps that they're using. And it's just, you don't even have to create the content, you just have to set the stage. So therefore, when I am calling my database, depending on who on my list I'm calling, I could have the business conversation, or I could have the home parenting conversation, or maybe I have a whole nother approach. Maybe by the time you're watching this recording, we can get out in public, and therefore I would do the clothing drive, and I would just get everybody to like declutter, and I'll swing by and go to their porch and pick it up. Could be an idea. Now,
Danny, we do have a question. Just wondering what database you use.
my database is 500 a month. You guys are not going to want to hear the answers. So there's one, talk to your brokerage and your board. There's probably a deal done through either one of them. 2, if there isn't, my basic suggestion is Agile, Agile, Agile CRM. And the reason I suggest that is because it's free, and it does all the basic functions that you need it to do. You can add your contacts, you can segment your lists into buyers, sellers, and sphere of influence. You can do your follow-up and reminders and all that. So I suggest Agile because it's free, and until you find something that you like. But there are a lot of the real estate specific CRMs, Top Producer, Wise Agent, iExact. I mean, there's so many of them. You kind of just have to find one that fits you. Yeah. And what was the spelling? Ajax? Ajar? What was the spelling?
Maybe
spelling
Ajax.
Oh, Agile.
Agile.
Agile. If you're talking about the spelling of the CRM, if you're talking about the city that he works, it's Ajax, Ajax. Yeah. So I always had plan A, plan B, and I usually had 3 plan A's, so 3 reasons of why I was calling a person. That way, whoever answered, I could go with the flow. And then I always had 3 plan B's in the back of my head. So a plan B that's real estate related that all of you could leverage would be the nosy neighbor alert. So when I'm calling Laura and I get her enrolled in our parent teach from home Zoom call that we're going to do, during that conversation, if I felt that she wasn't stressed for time and we were having a good conversation, I would slide in the real estate approach. So I'd be like, hey, by the way, Laura, we got this new program. Now, I'm not going to ask you to buy a home or sell a home. Just hear me out for a second. If you could guess how many homes in your neighborhood sold, what do you think the number would be? And you can be wrong. Just throw a number out. So I give them permission to be wrong because they don't really know. So she'd be like, oh, I don't know, 8 or 12 or whatever the number is. I would repeat that number and I'd be like, yeah, 8. Okay, so you can agree 8 isn't a very overwhelming number. What we can do is we can set up an alert that whenever a home in just your neighborhood hits the market, you get notified and it's going to show you the pictures, the price, the description, the home renovations that they've done, the home staging that they've done. And it really allows you to keep your thumb on the pulse of the market that matters most to you. And it doesn't cost you anything. I'm already setting people up. Would it be okay if I included you? And if so, what's the best email? And I stopped talking. And most of the people were like, oh, yeah. And they would tell me the email. And I need their address. So I'd be like, okay, what's the exact address? So I get the address. Okay, what's the exact postal code? So I'm building and filling my database with all the information that I need. Like, we're in real estate, so you should have everybody's address. I could then send her a thank you note, send her a postcard, whatever. Now that I got all that information, what I would do is I would log into my MLS. So let's just say I'm in Toronto. I would go into the Toronto Real Estate Board and set up her as a buyer. And her criteria is just that one little neighborhood, that one little pocket. So anything that happens in that pocket, email her. And what happens is it creates a real estate related drip. It's relevant to them. It's not like fix your roof tips or baking recipes. And I'm not knocking those, but I'm just saying real estate related is better, especially if it's in their neighborhood. And it doesn't cost you anything. You're not going to have to pay for another third party subscription of some other vendor trying to get your money. Um, I think everybody in your database should be set up on that. So I would be on a mission right now where I call three a day, 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day, and I just make a game of it. Because if you try to call too many, on average, let's just say it's 15 minutes a phone call. That's like 45 minutes of work. And it's really hard to get people to create a new habit. And especially when it involves picking up the phone and being proactive. So if you could just make a game of 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day, you'd be so much further ahead of all the agents. Like right now, where we stand, a lot of consumers were going to list their home last month and they didn't. And a lot of buyers were going to buy a home last month and they didn't because nobody knows what's going on. Well, fast forward a month from now, there's going to be a tipping point, and I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if it's a month or what, but there is going to be a breaking point where all those people that were on the fence and wanted to move and didn't, they're going to have to now. Like their mortgage is up. They were already in the process of a divorce. Like there's life, man, is happening for people, and they're going to have to move. And the agents that are going to win are the ones that are working their referrals and their database. So I think 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day voice conversations is going to be great. And you just need to have a reason that isn't annoying or spammy. Because if I just called business related first, I probably could do it because I'm comfortable with scripts and dialogue and that sort of thing and framing the way I pitch products. But it doesn't make me feel good. I wouldn't have a fun, they wouldn't be fun for me. However, if I had something bright in my horizon that I could be excited about and get other people excited about, it's a lot easier for you to pick up the phone. So by me telling you those ideas, did anything jump at you and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could, and then fill in the blank? Maybe you've got some opportunity that we don't know. I'd love for you to unmute yourself and just shout it out, or in the comments, type it as well.
Got one here, Dan, from Brooke. Actually, what would you be doing for community groups that you admin on Facebook?
Okay. I got a roundabout answer that doesn't directly answer that. I would be doing I would build a community group from scratch of all the local businesses that deliver, and I would get them in on the group, and then I would be doing Zoom recordings, interviewing them, talking about their business and how they're coping and how people are buying and what they're buying and all that. And I would just be building my database that way, doing like a little interview series. And I got a girl started that 2 weeks ago, and she's now got a couple hundred people in the group, and she's already getting referrals from it. And it's literally just like there's one girl on this call. I'm not going to shout her out, but she has a Facebook group. I think most of her business comes from running a Facebook group. Facebook groups are amazing, but it takes a lot of time to get the people in and active.
Mhm.
So I don't know what your Facebook group is, how I could like answer that question any better. But most people listening don't have a Facebook group that they own that has like real meat to it. And I would do like a local business one to help them out. It's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the easiest target, and it removes the what's in it for you and places it on what's in it for the community. Cool. Okay. Any other questions? Nothing.
Mhm.
Crazy. You guys are a quiet group. There's 104 of you. That's nuts. There's got to be some good ideas, ahas, breakthroughs, or even just straight up technical questions of how would you address this? I've been struggling with it. Since we're together, you might as well.
Here's one. What would you use for the video editor if you wanted to create on the computer
Good
as opposed to your
question.
phone?
Yeah. I would still edit it. So I do all my video editing on my iPad. So even if I shot and created the video on my computer, I would do the editing on my iPad because it's just such a better process. There's two apps. If you're on an iPad, it is LumaFusion, LumaFusion, LumaFusion. Nothing beats that. That's like the best mobile editing app on the market. And then if you don't have iOS device, it's called Power Director. They're not the same. LumaFusion beats Power Director, but if you have an Android tablet, then Power Director is the answer. The reason why I do my editing on LumaFusion and on a tablet is one, I just hate working from my computer. Um, it's like a chore. And when I do it on my iPad, I can sit comfortably on my couch and I can just like edit. The reason why I use these two is because it gives you multiple tracks to edit on. Most video editors will just give you the one track. So you can slice a video clip, but what if I wanted to layer two video clips, add a logo, and add text? Each one of those require its own track. And LumaFusion and Power Director both give you that ability.
Got a couple of comments here. Nicole Bafaro just said, where did it go now? Just a video, put out a video on how you're helping the community, or and then another one was, do you have any suggestions, program suggestions for putting virtual tours together?
Loom is the easiest
Loom.
one for recording your screen. You could use any virtual tour that you're given, or literally just open up the photos and just flip through the photos on your screen and you talk about them. But um, Matterport is like the leading one for 3D virtual tours right now.
Next question here is from Jim. It says, I'm starting to use Instagram for more exposure of myself as an agent.
Yeah.
Any quick tips to give if you don't have any active listings? I also noticed my video show a black screen until I hit play. Is that normal?
When I don't know if you're playing other people's videos and it's a black screen, or if you're recording your screen. I don't know. That sounds like a glitch. I would just delete the app and reinstall it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as Instagram, yeah, there is a huge breakthrough for me. So my audience, most like if I post on Facebook, I can usually predict that I would get 50 to 100 or more comments. Like I got a pretty good following on Facebook. And I don't have the greatest following on Instagram. So in theory, you would think if I took a video and put it on Facebook, and I took that same video and put it on Instagram, that I would get more engagement on Facebook just because of the audience and the interaction. Wrong. I get way more comments and shares from Instagram. So the thing is, Instagram TV is really pushing their organic views right now. So if you want to make a video and get free views, Instagram TV is where it's at. So you have to make sure that your video is at least 60 seconds or longer. Otherwise, you can't use Instagram TV. The other thing is there's three different accounts for Instagram. There's a personal account, a business account, and a creator account. The business account and the creator account both allow you to do IGTV. I don't know if the personal one does. I use the creator account. It's the same business and creator. They're both the same thing. I don't really see any difference. So yeah, I would, if you're on a personal account, I would switch over to the business account or the creator account. It just gives you more tools. Mostly it gives you insights so you can see what's working and what's not working. Most of you, this will help you. It's an app called Repost. I don't know why I looked at my iPad. I already know what it's called. It's called Repost. Anyways, go to the App Store, download this app. It's called Repost. And there's a lot of Instagram channels or accounts that never even create their own content. They just keep reposting other people's content based on their niche. So what you do is when you go to Instagram, there's a search button and you can search. That's is normally where you would search the name of your friends so that you can add them. Well, if you put a hashtag and then search a hashtag, you can actually follow that hashtag. And then what you would do is, like, say you were an agent that did only Toronto condos, or you're a waterfront or luxury. I would follow those hashtags, and any of the ones that like were like really stunning properties or really stunning posts, I would just hit the repost button. You don't even have to create the content. I follow a lot of the accounts that I follow, they just reshare other photos of other runners. I follow a lot of like running stuff for some reason. And yeah, they're huge. They've got thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers, and they don't even create a single piece of fresh content. They just keep resharing others. So that might be an easy answer for Instagram. I have actually a video for you. I'm going to grab it right now, and I will put it in the description of this Zoom chat. And I did an interview with Chelsea, who is like the leading influencer in real estate and Instagram. So if you want to know anything about Instagram and real estate, Chelsea is where it's at. And I did an interview with her, and I'm going to get the video of that.
A quick question from John, wondering when you're using that Repost app, if you're not running into advertising rule issues doing that.
If you are, don't do it. But the real answer is, like, you can put your own description of like your name, your title, your all that information, right? And then if the other person's breaking the rule, that's on them if they don't have their information, and you're giving them credit. And by them being on Instagram, it's fair game. That's part of the if you want to be on it, your content is shareable by others, unless they have a private account. But if they had a private account, you wouldn't be seeing it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answered you. I think it did. Okay, here's this playlist. I'm going to share it with you guys. How do I? Oh, here we go. Share. Copy. And check the chat. I just pasted it right now. So it's like video 1, 2. It's the third video on that playlist, and it's Instagram for real estate. It's a 10-minute video. And so that video I just showed you guys where I was standing in the desert, I legit walked an hour and a half, 2 hours out into the desert to get a shot like that. But that was shot on my iPhone. It looks so, I don't know from your end after we go through the Zoom and it's like broadcasted, it might be muddy. But I mean, the quality is amazing of the video that you guys can make on your phones these days. Cool. Okay, do you not run into, oh, I answered that. Hockey group, that's a good idea. Yeah, so any of your old groups, definitely you could do, you could even play like Cards Against the Humanity or something like that as a group with your hockey team. I'm sure they would like that. Perfect. All right. Well, I mean, we're right on. I don't have to drag this on. We're 1 minute past what I believe we should have been at. And so what I want to do is I'm going to re-copy and paste all of my contact info. So I do encourage you guys to connect with me if you want to do that free, half-hour coaching call with me. It's not of any cost. I'm going to put my cell phone and my email. Just know that I am pre-booked for at least the next 2 weeks, like literally without a break. And oh, did I do that? Yeah, I did. And so send me a text. If you want to join me on any of my programs, some of you are broker owners and managers. I could do live Zoom meetings for just your brokerage and your team. So message me on that. It's free for you guys to connect with me on social media like Instagram and Facebook. And my YouTube channel is huge in not respects of like, I don't know why I said it's huge. It's really focused on residential real estate marketing. So if that's what you're into, then you should probably check it out. And if you guys need me to help you with your digital marketing, I do one-on-one coaching where we set up your systems or we just run your marketing for you. So Sutton, Canada, Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you guys hanging out. As we wrap things up, I'm just going to stand here if there's any further questions, but I don't know how you guys want to close this, so I'm just going to leave it up to you, I guess, Brooke. And thank you.